official. All right, great.
Lights, camera, fractions.
All right, thank you.
Boom, 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 yeah.
All right.
Turn off the lights.
So in the last lecture, we talked about how to graph a quadratic equation, and we were specifically talking about something. Well, first of all, what is the formula for the quadratic equation? The full formula. Y equals.
Y equals A
Yeah.
x squared.
X squared
BX.
plus bx
Plus
plus c. All right. And let's just remember what we know. We know A does what again? What does the A tell us?
It tells us how skinny or fat.
How skinny or fat. So if it's like above 1 and the higher that number, you know, like this would be, you know, y equals 1x squared, y equals 2x squared, 3x squared, 4x squared, 5x squared, 6x squared. It gets really tall, right? Or if it's less than 1, if it's a fraction, it starts to get wider and wider and wider, right? Yes.
Okay, we said a parabola cannot be a straight line.
A parabola cannot be a straight line, correct?
Yeah, so what if, like, x, like, what if A was like a really high number, or is it just like straight?
It will look like a straight line, yes. It could look like a straight line, but it won't be exactly straight. Does that make sense?
Because we're not writing it.
Because even though it looks really skinny, right? And it looks really, really straight, it's always also traveling that way.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? So there's no way you can have it. I mean, yeah, you could have like 2 straight lines that are traveling that way always, but it's not that. It's actually, it's not 2 straight lines, they're curved, right? So they're always going to be curved, even a million, billion, cajillion Googles up there and down that way and so forth, right? It's always going to be curved. But it's going to look like a straight line at some point, no question, right? But it is curved. Okay, so we have learned that, okay, what if A is positive?
Is,
It's a happy
Happy face. What if it's negative?
Sad face.
Sad face. And what does B do again?
It tells what, like, it goes to the side.
Yeah, it moves the vertex left and right, right? What does C do?
It moves it up and down.
It moves the vertex up and down, right? So that's awesome to know. And so far, the only thing we've been doing is things without the B. So that was so easy, right? We did y is equal to, you know, x squared minus 5. And so we immediately did down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what am I plotting when I do that? What am I plotting? It's the vertex. How do I know it's the vertex? How do I know it's not just the y-intercept? Is it also a y-intercept? What?
It's on the line.
Because it's on the y-axis, yes. And there's no b, right? There's 0 x's. You see that? That and the b is what, if b is not 0, if it's something else, that's going to move it off the y-axis. But if there's no b, that means b is 0, and it's on the y-axis. So that's my vertex. That's also my my y-intercept. And then I'm going to use standard parabola guy, right, which is y equals x squared, which is xy when you go over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4. Everybody gets that, right? So once we have taken care of this, we moved our vertex from here down 5. Now we have y equals x squared at this point, right? And so we are just going to go over 1, up 1, dot. Over 2, up 4, dot. Over 1, up 1, dot. Over 2, up 4, dot. And we noticed yesterday, what did we notice about a parabola in relation to the vertical line that goes through the vertex? What did we notice? That it is symmetrical, right? It's symmetrical. So that's really an awesome thing. So if all I have to do is plot one side and then I can say, oh, it's only 2 over from the axis of symmetry, I'll just go 2 over to the left. So over 1 over from the axis of symmetry, I'll go 1 over to the left. So in this case, when B is 0, the axis of symmetry is the y-axis. Yes? You all get that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, B is not always 0, right? we still want to know what is that axis of symmetry. We still want to know that vertical line, right? We want to know where it is because we know the vertex is on that line. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, sure.
If I could find, if I had something with a B in it and I knew that the axis of symmetry was right here, I know that somewhere on that line there's a dot that's the vertex. It might be right here. And then my parabola goes off like that, right? Because it might be y equals x squared plus bx or something plus c. But I know that my vertex has got to be on that axis of symmetry. So if I knew what the axis of symmetry was, that would be really helpful. Don't you agree with me? All right. In fact, look at this. If this was my axis of symmetry, notice my x would be the number that the axis of symmetry is. At this point, right here, would be x comma y, right? That's the axis of symmetry, the x of the axis of symmetry, right? That's what the x would be. So if I know the axis of symmetry, I know the first part of my point. Yes? You see that? So, here we go. Let's do one.
So Gary, I have a question.
Yes.
So the equation is simply just the quadratic equation.
This is a quadratic equation and it is in standard form.
Okay, so standard form. 'Cause I'm
This is called
guessing, is there other
standard-
forms that?
There are other forms.
Okay.
Yes. This is standard form. And it's the most common. You will see there is one called the vertex form. And it's actually makes it really easy to graph a quadratic equation, but you don't see it all the time. You'll often see it in standard form. So you got to know how to deal with these. So let's say I gave you, well, first of all, let's just talk about the axis of symmetry formula. Axis of symmetry formula. So make sure this is written down because this is something you want to memorize, okay? X equals negative b over 2a. It's actually not very hard to remember that. Did anybody here last year learn the quadratic formula? Not the quadratic equation, but the quadratic formula. X
It
equals
sounds-
negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
I think you told us one time.
Okay,
And we never wrote
All
it
right.
down.
We
Yeah.
never reviewed that in meets.
yeah, okay. Well, this is actually part of the quadratic formula. You know, the quadratic formula says x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of something all over 2a. So it's just you're missing the plus or minus something. So it's just negative b over 2a. So everybody say it. X equals negative b over 2a.
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 Close your eyes. X equals negative b over 2a.
X equals negative b over 2a.
All right, Jackson, what is it?
X equals negative b, no, yeah, x equals negative b over 2a.
Yes, Jax?
Stop reading it off the
Okay.
board.
All right, Manu, keep looking at him. X equals negative.
Negative b over
2a.
Very nice. Sam? Okay, great. A lot of people will say just negative b over 2a. What's the problem with that?
There's no x. and
There's no x. You want to write the x because the x tells you what you're solving for. You're solving for x, right? So here we go. Let's use it. Let's say I gave you this equation. Y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 5. Okay? There's your equation. And I'm asking you to find the axis of symmetry. Okay, so I'm going to, let's review. Look at this. My a is the number in front of the x squared. My b is the number, including the sign, in front of the x. And my c is the number without an x, including the sign, right? The signs belong to the numbers. So what's my a?
1.
A is this hidden 1 that's right here. So a is equal to 1. So I'm going to write that right here. A equals 1. What's my b?
Negative 4.
Negative 4, right? B divided by the x, negative 4. What's my c?
5.
5. Okay, here's my formula. X equals negative b over 2a. And a great way to memorize an important formula, and I'm telling you this is a really important formula, a great way to memorize this is just every time you do a problem, write that equation. You know what I mean? Instead of just having it somewhere and looking at it. Yes? Yeah, Joseph can help. So here we go. So I'm going to plug this in now. I've got x is this stuff. Negative b. B is already negative 4. Does that mean I just write negative 4?
Do you mean you got positive?
Yeah, because it's going to be negative 4, right? So that means positive 4 over 2 times a. A is 1, so that's over 2. What is 4 divided by 2?
2.
2. All right, so my...
Wait.
Yes.
Is that negative plus what?
This was, the formula says negative b. So I put in negative, and then I noticed the b was negative 4. So I put negative 4. So it's negative 4, which now is positive 4. You follow me?
Yeah.
And so I could just erase those if you want.
Yeah, I was so
Right?
confused.
4 over 2 is equal to 2, right? 4 divided by 2. Every fraction is a division problem. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. All right, so what is 2? What is 2? What? What is 2? What equals 2?
2.
Yes, but what else?
2 over 2. X.
X. That's what I just solved for. I just solved for x. X is my axis of symmetry. I know now x is equal to 2. Now how would I graph x equal to 2?
Just do over 2.
Yes. I go over 2, 1, 2, and I put a dot, right? Once you know how to do it. Okay? Here. All right, whatever.
That's a flawless line, Gary.
Perfect.
All right? So I got over 2, I've got a dot, right? Now the question is, what if I was down here though? What would x be?
What?
Well, it doesn't say anything about y. So it doesn't care what y is. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm saying, it says x is always 2, no matter where you are. Well, let's say I'm down here. Where's x? 2. Oh, so I got to put it, oh, wait, well, what if I'm up here?
2.
2. Oh, so x is always 2. It doesn't care what y is. No matter where you are in the y-axis, x is always 2. Therefore, I have a vertical line at x equals 2. And that vertical line is my axis of symmetry. That's my axis of symmetry. So I know,
Oh my God.
I know that my vertex is there on that line. Does that make sense? I know that. Somewhere on that line. Now, the question is, how would I find where on that line? Yes.
You
Zane.
solve it normally, but that is your axis of symmetry.
Okay, so you solve it normally. So here's my equation.
Without the b.
Here's my equation. What do I have of this equation? What have I solved for? I have solved for x. Look at this. X equals 2. How many variables are in here?
2.
2. There's a y and an x.
Yeah, there's 1.
And I need, to find a vertex, don't I need an x comma y? Yes? Are you with me? I need an x comma y. And I already know my x. I know my vertex is over 2. But I don't know what my y is. So can I just plug this in? Instead of saying x, I could say 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 5. And I could figure out what my y would be at that point. Does that make sense? You get it? Okay, let's do it. So I'm going to just erase this a little bit so I have space. Okay, here we go. Y equals, instead of x squared, I'm going to put 2 squared. 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 5. What's 2 squared?
4.
Okay, y is equal to 4 minus 8, is that right? Okay, plus 5. So 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Plus 5, 5 minus 4, that's just 1, right? So y equals 1. Oh my God, look at this. I have an x and a y. That is my vertex.
Whoa.
Does that make sense? So my vertex is this. Vertex x, comma, y, or 2, comma, 1, right?
Why do you put in like a square root sign for?
Because I was stupid. All right. Thank you for revealing my stupidity
Oh.
on my.
Great job,
no.
Zane.
So it's everybody gets that, right? That's my vertex. So I'm going to go over here now and I'm going to plot it. I know it's going to be on this line. I go over 2 and up 1, and it's right there. All right. Now let's go back to this equation. I just did all of this, right? All of this has now been taken care of because it's moved my vertex to the right 2 and down a certain amount,
And now it's just
right?
parabola.
And now, what do I have? I have left over y is equal to x squared, which is
Standard parabola.
standard parabola guide. So I can come over here at this vertex and I can just do over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4. That's standard parabola guide, right? So from here I go over 1, up 1, put a dot. Over 2, up 4, put a dot. Over 1, up 1, put a dot. Over 2, up 4, put a dot.
Wait, why are you using that one?
What?
Gary, why are you using that one?
Why am I using what one?
Why are you using that one, not the one?
No, not the
The other.
you did it wrong. Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Why did I have that dot? Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Thank you.
Good
Over
work.
1, up
Good
1.
work.
See?
The bell was going off in my head, but I
Oh,
actually
man.
wasn't sure.
You're
I was
right.
like,
I just went for a dot. So it's better not to put those dots. Just draw your vertical line as a dash, right?
You did it, Gary.
Sorry, I did it. Sorry. Over 1, up 1. Thank you for catching that. Over 1, up 1. Over 2, up 4. Somewhere around there. Over 2, up 4. So it's around there, right? And so, whoops. Keep going to these other dots.
Erase
Get rid of
all the
those
dots, Gary.
Okay. All right.
So it's
And
over
now,
2.
now look at this. Look at this. What is the one last thing? What is this? This plus 5.
C.
C. And what is the C? What is the C?
I don't know what C is, but how did you figure out the X exactly? I understand Y, but X is.
So X, I had to use this axis of symmetry formula. X is equal to negative b over 2a. Right? And that's going to tell me my X. So, but the thing is, I have to know what my A and my B is. And remember, your formula, the A is in front of the x squared, and the B is in front of the x. So I come down here, the A is in front of the x squared, which is 1. So A is 1. A equals 1. B is the thing in front of the x, and that's negative 4. So that's negative 4. B is equal to negative 4, and my C is the 5, right? The last number, right? The 5. So I just plug this in. Negative b is negative negative 4, which is plus 4, over 2 times 1 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. You see what I mean?
And they're always equal to.
And that is, the A, B, and C are always in that order. Yes. Make sense? Okay, great question. But what do we know about C? C is,
It moves the axis up and down.
okay, yes, and it does one other thing. It tells you, how would you know, just remind me guys, how would you find the Y-intercept of a line? You guys do it every time you graph standard form straight lines.
Y
You do
equals NX plus B.
Y equals, well, like when you have 2x plus 3y equals 6. Every time you do that, you're finding your x-intercept and your y-intercept. What did you have to do to x to find your y-intercept? What? Well, think about it. If you had, if you had a straight line, this is a straight line. 2x plus 3y equals 6. How would you graph that? That's in standard form. Wouldn't you use x and y intercepts? Remember that? To find the y-intercept, you make x equal to 0. Because x has to be 0 if you're going to be on the y-intercept, y-axis. To find the x-intercept, you make y 0. All right, so to find the y-intercept, let's make x 0. What would y be if you made x 0? Right here. What?
Y would be.
Right.
0 squared minus 0 plus 5.
5 is left,
5 is the only thing left, right?
that's 1.
So this C is always your y-intercept. Always. And look at where it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is. Look at that.
I was wondering about that.
So this number is always your y-intercept. Always. You don't have to do anything to figure it out. It's right there. That's it. You're done. Isn't that awesome? So you immediately know a point on the graph. You know it's going to be right there on the y-axis. And then, okay, so now let's pull it together. Let's wrap it up so that you guys know what we're doing. Let's do, the key is this. The process. Let's talk about the process. The process to graph parabola with a B. All right? You know what I mean by saying with a B? Right? Okay? So number one, find the axis of symmetry. Right? And that's using x equals what? Negative b over 2a. Number two, find the vertex. And how do you do that again? You already found the x of the vertex, but how do you find the y of the vertex?
You plug x in.
Yeah, so plug x into equation, right? Equation, and then solve for y, right? And solve for y. Okay? So, Matt, you should be writing all of this. Not that. You should be writing all this. This is like way more important than you're taking. It's really important. Lost my cap somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay, does that make sense? So let's do one really fast. Here we go. Y equals 2x squared plus 8x minus 4. All right. What do I do? Here's my process. What do I do first?
Would A be 2 or 4?
A is the number in front of the x squared, so
Okay.
it's 2.
Well, the x.
So A is equal to 2. B is equal to what? 8. And C is what?
C is negative 4.
Negative 4. Okay. So what do I do? This is my first step. I have to find my axis of symmetry using this formula. Right? And I now know my A and my B. That's all I need. So what do I have to put? X equals negative B over 2A, which is equal to
Negative 8.
Negative
over
8.
4.
over 2 times 2, right? Or 4. 2 times that 2, which is 4. That gives me negative 2, right? With me?
X equals negative 2.
X equals negative 2. So x equals negative 2. Great. That is my axis of symmetry. So I could easily come over here and graph that. X is equal to negative 2. Negative 1, negative 2. And it's just a vertical dashed line at negative 2. X equals negative 2. Remember? X is always negative 2. No matter where you are, up or down, X is always negative 2.
But
Right.
then where's the Y?
Right. That's a good question. So we haven't gotten that far. You only did number 1. What's number 2,
Oh,
Mel?
okay, we're good then. I'm good.
Okay, what do I do now?
You plug X into the equation.
Do you agree with him, Jackson?
Yeah,
You have
but
another
No.
does it always have to be a dashed line?
I like to do it as a dashed line because it reminds me that's not the y-axis, right? It's just my axis of symmetry, okay? And I know that somewhere on that line, x will be negative 2 and y, I don't know what it is, so I'm going to plug it in. So here we go. Y is equal to, where's my formula? Here it is. Okay, so 2, and now watch this. This is really important. When you have a negative, this is where everybody messes up. So everybody watch. 2 times, in parentheses I have negative 2, parentheses, squared. That parentheses is essential. Because if I did this, 2 times negative 2 squared, technically the exponent only affects what it's next to, which is the 2, not the negative. So technically that would be negative 4 there. This is going to be positive 4, because the 2 is next to the parentheses, so it's negative 2 times negative 2, which is positive 4. You with me?
Yeah.
Guys see that? Those parentheses are very important. Then plus 8 times negative 2 minus 4. It's best to just write it all out first. This is where everybody makes mistakes. So write it all
Everybody
out.
makes mistakes.
2 times 4 is 8. You guys agree with me?
Yeah.
Y is equal to positive 8. Okay, 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. Minus 16 minus 4. All right, so what is that? Y is equal to 8 minus 16 is negative 8. Negative 8 and negative 4?
Negative 14, or negative 12.
Negative 12. So my vertex is what?
Negative 12.
Just
So,
move your head.
yeah, vertex is negative 2 comma 12.
Oh my god, why?
Negative 12, sorry. Negative 12. All right, so here, we're going to use this graph. We'll just get rid of this, because it's over in this side. Okay, here we go. Negative 2, boom, boom. Okay, dash line, that's my axis of symmetry. Somewhere on that line is my thing. So this is going to be negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's negative 12. So my vertex is negative 2, negative 12. Negative 2, negative 12. Dot, right there. You guys agree with me?
Yeah.
That's my vertex. Now, what is it? Go back to my original equation. What do I have? Standard parabola guy
Times 2.
times 2, right?
So,
So that's easy. I go over 1 up 1 times 2, which is 2, right? Over 2 up 4 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom. Right? And notice, since it is symmetrical on both sides, this is 2 over. I'm just going to go 2 over here and put a dot. This is 1 over from the axis of symmetry. I'm going to go over here and put a dot. And I'm just going to draw my parabola. And I did it. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
It's really pretty easy. Fist of 5. Are you understanding the process? So the goal is to find the vertex.
will y equals ax squared plus bx plus c be written on the paper?
I can't remember if it's on
So
the
is this what our homework is going to be like?
This is what our homework is. And so I'm going to give you your homework right now.
How many
You can-
columns?
You guys can work on it right now.
No. Not in Gary's one. How many problems are there?
How many problems?
Well, like this, I think there's 6.
Gary.
So I'll hand it out, and then you guys look at it. and
Shouldn't we
see.
practice this a bit?
See? Yeah, that's what you're doing.
Oh, no, I mean like.
We have 6, you have 6 minutes.
Yeah.
We got
Do
6
one
minutes
problem
to
with
practice
all
it right now. I'm here to help, so is Joseph.
Can we work with each other?
So this is a little new, like this is new to Joseph. You know why? Because nobody teaches this stuff. I'm telling you. Oh wait, let's turn this off.